Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Dawson County Board of Commissioners work session. Today is Thursday, May 7th, 2020. We appreciate your attendance. We'll get right into the new business. First up, we have a presentation of Rotary Peace Pole, Rotary Club of Dawson County, Brooke Anderson, and Sharon Hall.
Thank you, Billy. I know this is funny, but I'll keep this on. Y'all, does everybody have a picture of the Rotary Peace Pole?
Yes, I do.
Each year, what our Rotary Club does, and our year changes July the 1st. So July the 1st, I'll be taking president. We'll have a new board and everything. But what we do is we look for a significant project to do, something that impacts the community, the world, something that will, help everybody. One thing that Rotary looks at is there are 6 areas of focus. One of them is peace. That's not really one thing that Dawson County has looked at in the last few years. So we wanted to do something that when you pass by, when you look, you see something that says Rotary on it, something that simplifies peace. We had a training back in March before the Corona crazy, and we have learned a lot of counties are doing this. So when Brooke and I were looking at this, and I know y'all probably have a copy of this, when we were looking at this, we've got prices. James Bearden will be conducting it for, or building it for us out of granite. We were trying to think, where can we put this that a lot of people, everybody can see it. The courthouse immediately came to mind. So what we would like to propose to you is the grass area out here, where I think there's a couple of benches out there, to see if y'all would allow us to put our peace pole out there. Simple as that. Brooke, do you have anything to add?
Peace pole is granite, solid granite.
What's the dimensions of the thing?
It's about 30 inches square on the bottom, so it's about 3 feet square on the bottom, and it's about 8 feet tall. So,
I have this, if anybody wants to
It's
see
a,
it, that's the dimension.
Okay.
it's a pretty sizable structure of significance. It's not anything small, but it's not 20 feet either. It's not, dominating the area.
Did you say 8 feet tall?
Yes, yes. It's 36 inches. The base of it, as you see there, is 36 inches, about 36 inches.
Yeah.
The pole itself is 18,
18 inches,
Mhm.
18 inches.
and the total of it's going to be 7 feet tall.
Oh, okay.
So, this particular picture was taken in Jasper. It was constructed by the Jasper Rotary Club. On each of the 4 sides of the pole, it says, "May peace prevail upon earth," or on earth, and it's written in a different language on each side. So the English on one side, and there's Spanish, Chinese, something on the other side as we look at that. So if people come and visit Dawson County, they may not speak the language, but they may be able to read the pole. So it is, we're excited about it. One of the things that we would maybe mention is we don't know the timing. If y'all would allow us to do this, we don't know the timing just yet. That's a little bit based on funding. And, while we're working on that, it may be January, February before something's actually done, just because we don't know what the business environment's going to look like come August, September, October, and so we've got to raise funds to make it go. But first things first, we need to find a place, we need to get permission, and that's what we're here today to ask, that if y'all agree with the project, to give us permission to locate it. As Sharon said, in the grass area, there's a picnic table down there now. It's flat, and literally, we would not do anything in the grass. We would set it in the grass, but we're not going to take up any more grass than what's necessary for the pole. There'll be grass around it. Just keep it simple and elegant. So.
Questions for Brooke or Sharon?
How much does something like that cost?
It is $11,500, and $11,950. And we went to the Gary Funeral Home because we know if it's done, James is going to do it pretty much perfect. Yes.
Do we have, and this might be a heavy question, do we have any, anything similar to this on any of our county properties?
No.
Not that I know.
You do have one thing, the only thing similar is at Rock Creek Park along the trails, Rotary has a Centennial Memorial, there, a granite block there, and that was installed probably 10, 15 years ago. That's the only thing, sorry, but that's the only thing similar that we have, on county property, and then on our school property, we've got a wall at the, Art Center, at the Bowen, there's a wall there that Rotary built with Rotary inside of it.
And also, in this very building itself, we do have a granite, thing from the Masons.
Cornerstone, yeah.
Yes.
Just playing, I mean, I like the idea of just playing devil's advocate. Does it open us up if somebody that, a group came, said they wanted to erect something, you know, does that open us up to a precedent that we allow this group, but don't allow that group, you know, just, again, just thinking out loud, devil's advocate on some of the decisions that we make.
Yeah, that's the question that y'all will need to decide, obviously, what we're proposing is nonpartisan, non-political, non-ethnic, check all the boxes that you would, you know, to be as innocuous as possible.
A lot of the counties have them. I know Banks County does at their courthouse. Pickens County, Jaspers is over in their park. It's very pretty what they have done up there, if you've been over there, but it's way out. They put benches around it. You have to make an effort to go see this beautiful peace pole. And one of the things I think about being a native, I really want to leave something behind that people look at 25 years from now and say, oh, Rotary, you know, just something with Rotary. We've got the Rock Creek, the park has been so good to us on that. This is kind of taking it in a different direction as far as something just peace, beautiful. It will be a beautiful piece, but
Include how much it weighs.
It'd be pretty heavy.
That's what I think. Is it one piece?
yes. Well, I don't know, I think it's gonna be,
It's three separate pieces, there's a base.
Three separate,
there's
okay.
a
I just
base
wouldn't
at
want it
bottom,
to
and
fall on
36 by
somebody.
36, and then the pole itself is one piece, and they'll all be connected.
that's one of the questions I have for James is the, sturdiness. It's
Yeah.
gonna be together. It's gonna be a tornado with something that has to move it. No child or
Yeah, that's what I,
nobody could run up and move
Start
it
doing
at all.
this.
No,
yeah.
no, it's gonna be very, very sturdy. And I do have this, I'll be glad to leave because I have another one.
Yeah,
Yes,
that'd be
that
good.
is the dimensions from James, but it's like that. Yes. No, it'll be sturdy. Look, your bear won't be able to move it yet.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, good. Boy, that will be strong, won't it?
Other questions for Sharon or Brooke? Thank y'all.
Good, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank y'all.
So,
Next up, we have presentation of Georgia Secretary of State Secure the Vote, Coronavirus Aid Relief and Economic Security Act Grant, Chief Registrar, Board of Elections, and Registration Chair Glenda First. Glenda.
Well, we're here with another grant. We have one from, and I can't see because my glasses are fogging up, so bear with me.
I get you.
We were able to almost fulfill the first grant that we had so far, so they brought on another one for the protective, with PPE equipment, as a 1-to-9 match, because the state is having a hard time acquiring what they thought they were gonna be able to supply to all the counties for the elections. So they're asking us to reach out and get what we can get.
Ms. Glenda, if I could get you to speak up so the
Oh.
people that are online can hear us better.
Okay,
Everyone here as
sorry.
well.
Do I just leave this on?
Yeah, speak up.
Okay. But the number one thing is the personal protection equipment match is a 1-to-9 match up to $5,000. And the other one is the secure drop box match, which is 1-to-3 match up to $3,000. So, I'm just bringing this before the board to get approval. The box actually is in place because we have people that have called and are using it now. So we do have a box in place. And the protective gear I'm still trying to get. I did get a box of the face shields, so I was able to get those, and I'm still working towards getting other supplies as I can. So, so I'm just presenting it to you to see what, how you feel about it, if it could be approved to be moved forward.
Questions for Glenda? She said it was 90% reimbursement?
Yes, at least the first one. The second one's 1 to 3, the drop box. Yeah.
What's, and I've heard more of this on the national level, I guess, on what our, I assume we potentially would have a runoff election as well as impacts for that, as well as potential impacts for our November elections. And so some of these things that you're acquiring, you will be able to reuse for future elections as well if it's deemed necessary, I would assume, correct?
Correct. They're asking us to go ahead and prepare, for
Yeah.
the rest of the year, to make sure.
Other questions for Glenda?
Have you had feedback from your poll workers with concerns? Have we lost any poll workers that don't want to participate because of the situation or the hazards that potentially exist?
So far, only about 5.
5 have.
Out of about 45.
Okay.
40 to 45, and with the social distancing and 6 foot, I don't think that's gonna be a problem. The challenge is going to be able to get everybody in a room without, to be able to vote. We're gonna be limited to how many poll workers we can put in the room, in all of our polling places.
Right.
So,
Other questions for Glenda? Thank you, ma'am.
Was this needed to be voted on tonight?
it's,
Yeah.
that's one of the things I was gonna tell you. I apologize, and on my, these are, the deadline is June 12th, but they also extended the other grants as well to June 12th. So if we have any more of the needs for the other grants, then we can also turn those in. But that would be great if it could be. If not, then I don't think, we have till June 12th. I'm not moving forward with this unless the board tells me I need to stop.
I'm fine with moving it to tonight so we can continue the process. That way you can plan better.
Great, thank you. I think that's all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next up, we have presentation of request to accept Georgia Trauma Commission EMS trauma-related equipment grant, Emergency Services Director Danny Thompson. Danny. Speak up into the spot.
Chairman Thurman, thank you, Commissioners. As you all are probably aware, January 2010, the state of Georgia created a super speaker law that went into effect. Fines for this law now support what was established as the Georgia Trauma Commission. 20% of those funds go to the EMS programs across the state, and one of those programs is the trauma grant that comes before you this evening. Each licensed EMS service receives $863.27 per licensed Megan. Therefore, Dawson County has been awarded $4,316.35 for this year's trauma grant. There's no match, there's no county obligation except for we have to purchase the equipment up front, and then we're reimbursed once we show that we have actually purchased the equipment through invoices and everything. Initially, I was going to ask for this to be ratified tonight. As a lot of the grants, they've been extended. So this has been extended so you can leave this to your next voting session to be approved. And with that, I'll answer any questions that you may have.
Questions for Chief Thompson?
What we're buying with it?
So we are this year, most of this is the update to the trauma. So a lot of what we're buying is the new cap tourniquets, the chest seals, the Israeli trauma dressings to go with last year. If you remember, HR received and was able to purchase for us 10 of the ballistic armor vests for a rapid response team in a situation we had an active shooter. So this will be able to complement that level of equipment to ensure that the personnel have that to be able to make access and treat patients accordingly.
He's got, you see the list, there's a list in the,
There it is on the very.
yeah, the money for each, yeah.
Sure.
Okay. no,
Page 16.
Yeah.
Other questions for Chief Thompson? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next up, we have presentation of IFB number 364-20, Dawson County paving project for 3 collector roads, Public Works Director David McKee, and Purchasing Manager Melissa Hall. David.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Turn this. I'm assuming I'm probably not the only one that has a healthy respect for doctors and surgeons that sit there hours on end and breathe their own hot air.
I know how they do it.
A little bit of a challenge. I'm gonna try because they keep sucking it up against me.
They do.
So I've actually got 2 items here tonight. The first of the 2 items is, as the chairman stated, information for bid 364-20. And this is the paving project for the 3 collector roads as stated, and I'll go through that and attempt to answer any questions as we get going. A little background on this. Our current SPLOST 6 guidelines, you'll recall we're in essentially phase 4 of those guidelines or of those projects now. We've built out a number of roads, a number of big project, big ticket roads, Dawson Forest, Thompson Road, Kelly Bridge Road, big ticket items. We built the Public Works Complex. We're working on the fire station. A number of different projects that are there. Also, as you recall, 67% of those roads, or excuse me, of SPLOST 6 goes to Public Works, roads and bridges and repairs and equipment. So what this is this is in line. This is projects that are funded with those SPLOST 6 guidelines. And in January, I'm going to take this off because I keep sucking it in and I can't breathe. So in January 2008, when I proposed the phase 3 guidelines, 2 of these 3 roads, Sweetwater, Juneau, and Bailey Waters Road, were on that. That was in the planning process. And through our planning process, that's how these roads were developed. These all 3 are big ticket roads. They score very lowly on our COPACES rating, which is our pavement evaluation system that we use. Our process, we utilize about 8 different databases that we look at when we make our decisions. And when I make my decision in bringing before management, bringing before DOT, that we use about 8 different databases that we utilize when we make our decisions and recommendations. These roads here fall directly in line with that. Stephen Covey, I'm a big fan of his, begin with the end in mind. A lot of what we do is driven by the funding source. The joke is there's 10 of us and there's only 9 biscuits. That's for real. And these big ticket items, the reason why we fund them with SPLOST is just that. They are very big ticket, expensive items that we're talking about. Our procurement approach was just as we have seen and we are familiar with each of our projects that go out. We did receive 3 bids. Same companies that we've received bids on the last 4 projects that were bid. A little bit about the projects, task 1. And this may not be the exact order in which these roads are going to be done. We'll determine that based off of the timing with the next item that we're going to present to the board tonight. That's the culverts. We have to play the timeline there with the delays and everything from the virus stuff. But these are the 3 projects. I anticipate task 3 will actually occur first. But we'll go through them in order. Task 1 is Sweetwater Juneau Road. If you're familiar with Sweetwater Juneau Road, it is a collector road that connects 2 state routes. It connects State Route 183, State Route 183 with State Route 53 West. We are also in the process, which also goes into our planning process of looking what else is potentially going to occur on this road. We're in the process of building fire station number 8 out there. The condition of the road now, we do not want emergency vehicles running at high speeds, leaving that fire station, dodging potholes and everything else. So those items do go into our decision-making process, future development, and existing conditions. It's about 4.55 miles. We put 60 days time frame on there, give or take. It's quite a long process that'll go there. Bailey Waters Road is the next one. I'm not on social media, but I understand that one has gotten a lot of attention. And it is warranted, there's no doubt. The road is in bad shape. The road has not been repaved in quite some time. I looked at PubWorks, our asset management software, just before I came in here today. I think we've been out there 9 or 10 times since January repairing potholes. I don't say patch them, we don't fix them. We're just maintaining them is what we've been doing. So we've been out there 9 or 10 times, spinning our wheels. So that, again, that factors into our planning process that we use as we program these projects.
I believe there've been some broken windshields out there, haven't they? Car windshields?
Yes.
Because it's so bad.
Yes, yeah. And again, that one is a collector road, 2 state routes, State Route 136, State Route 52. It's about 3.5 miles long. And again, the time frame is 60 days there. Third task is Hugh Stowers Road. I want to be very clear on this section of this road. This section is Thompson Road, at the intersection of Thompson Road to the intersection of Grizzle Road. So when we do our asset evaluation, we evaluate roads in segments. And the reason why we evaluate our roads in segments is right here as a prime example. This segment of Hugh Stowers Road is far worse than any other segment of the whole road, which is the reason why we're only doing that segment. The other sections of the road, we can use less invasive rehab solutions that are cheaper, and we're not wasting our money going out there. So from Thompson Road, going to the south, across the bridge, up to the intersection of Grizzle Road, that's that section of Hugh Stowers Road that we'll be reclaiming here. Again, I looked at the scores there. I think we're in the roughly 40, that from the pavement evaluation, it roughly scored 40. Something else that we take into account in our planning process is crash data and traffic data. To Commissioner Fawcett's, I looked at your name here and I almost called you Ms. Davis, but to Commissioner Fawcett's point, if a police report is filed for some accident, then that goes into a database that I agreed to participate in with GDOT, and we have access to this database. I can log in and I can view any crash data that's out there. So when we're making decisions here, I pull the crash data. Why were these crashes? Did the vehicle leave the road? Does that mean there's edge loss? So again, that information is one of the 8 databases that we use that goes into our planning process that we use to make these decisions. Several of these issues on Hugh Stowers Road were direct issues that are caused from the condition of the road. So crash data and traffic counts, again, is driving that. So I wanted to spend just a second and talk about those. I will leave with everybody. I think I've got enough copies here, if I may, Mr. Chairman. 1, 2. I tell you what, I'm going to give them all to you, except for one. What this is, and I don't want to go through this line by line, but this is a snapshot of our pavement evaluation database. These are pavement evaluations that I completed on October 5th of 17. Let's see, it looks like July 14th of 17 and August the 25th of 17 on each of these roads. They have not been evaluated since then. The reason being is because they needed to be reclaimed in 17, and we had higher priorities then, and we are getting to those roads now as our priorities get to this road. If we were to reevaluate this, you would see that it would be significantly lower. But what you have here is a direct pull from that COPACES database where we evaluated the road based off of 10 different criteria, and then it spits out a number. And that's what you see here. The second 2 pages is really just gets into the analytics that's there, and really the analysis and how we did that, all the way down to, here's one section of Bailey Waters Road that had 21 potholes. That's a 1/4 mile section that had 21 potholes. So this is the data that goes into our planning process. And I really just wanted to show the board that, because I understand, I haven't seen it because I'm not on social media, but I understand there's a lot of discussion about Bailey Waters Road, for example. I agree, it's in really bad condition. And what we're doing here, I think I've got that on the next slide, scope of work. I'm not gonna read this word for word. This is a mirrored scope of work that we've seen on Thompson Road, Dawson Forest Road, Kelly Bridge Road. This is full depth reclamation. This means that the road is off of life support, we've got to rebuild it. You've heard me say that term before. We can't just go deep patch and pave it. If we can, let me back, we can do that. But what I'll tell you is I'll be right back before you again in 2 or 3 years, asking for more money to go back and do it again. I am not a fan of that. It is a waste of our taxpayers' dollars. And I wouldn't stand here before you and say that's the solution. The solution for these roads is full depth reclamation. Obviously shoulder widening. If you go look at all of these roads, the asphalt stops at the white line typically. What this will do is it'll give us 2-foot shoulders. And then the next bid that we'll talk about is some culverts on Bailey Waters Road. But this is a turnkey job. We've tried this a couple different ways, but this would be a turnkey job. The contractor would come in, they would do all the reclaiming, they would do all the paving, they would do all the shoulder building, they would do all the traffic control. What the county would do is if a contractor is on site, I will have a representative on site inspecting the jobs and inspecting to make sure that we're getting what we, one, pay for, and number two, what the citizens are paying for. Something this last line and this last bullet there, contractors shall provide a 5-year warranty. That is very important. If anything happens to this road, short of rain washing something out, normal wear and tear or a wreck or something like that, if something happens within 5 years, we call the contractor and they come back out and fix it.
I have a question right there.
Yes, ma'am.
What about Dawson Forest, from the roundabout Dawson Forest to 400? Right
Yes.
there,
Mhm.
that big mess, is that under contract? And isn't this the same company that did Dawson Forest?
Yeah, you are correct. This is the same company that did Dawson Forest. However, that section of Dawson Forest, we did not do full depth reclamation. If you recall, at the time, the Kroger development was going in. They were digging all that up, tearing all that out. At the time, we made the decision not to include that section because it would have just got dug right back out and we would have had to do it again. That section of Dawson Forest does definitely need to be done. However, it is a short section and we can use a different funding source to do that. But you are correct in that the company that I'll be recommending here in just a second is the same company that did Dawson Forest, but that section was not done as FDR. It was done from the roundabout, I guess, east all the way to the new construction mess, and then from 400 at Power Center is where they started, west to 53. That was the sections that were done with full depth.
So where is that in the scope of things to be repaired on Dawson Forest? Do you know right offhand?
I do not, no.
Because that's a mess right there.
There's one section that needs to be repaired, milled out, and repaired.
You know.
Yeah,
But I do remember about that stopped because of the construction.
yep. So here's the bids that we received, and again, the takeaway here is we received bids from 3 different companies, Atlanta Paving and Concrete. We have worked with them before. Blunt Construction, which is, it appears red to me in the center column. Blunt Construction, and then C.W. Matthews Construction or Contracting in the last section there. One thing that I do want to make clear is we want to issue one contract to one construction company so that we don't have different construction companies out there. So that question was asked to me by one of my own staff members. We're not going to piecemeal this, are we? No, sir, we're not. And my recommendation is we not do that. But the takeaway here is that Blunt Construction is the low bidder on these projects. I think they've listed a June date there. Yeah, they've listed a June date as when they could get started. If you'll also recall, there's a lot of legwork. Once we give them the go-ahead, they'll go out with their ground penetrating radar equipment, look for utilities. There's a good bit of stuff that has to happen on the front end before they actually start working, before we'll see somebody out there. So with that, I request and respectfully request that we issue this contract to Blunt Construction in a not to exceed amount of $4,051,052.75. It is a quantity line item bid, so we ask that we issue that to Blunt. I'll attempt to answer any questions.
Are we using any of our own, don't we have some, striping contracts, stuff like that, that's outside of the scope of this?
We do, but in this particular project, it is all a turnkey.
Okay.
We do have a number of projects lined up this summer for our internal workforce. I'd be lying if I didn't sit here wasn't before you and told you we were behind because of the times. But yes, we do have that, but it is, this project is a turnkey. The only thing we'll be doing here is inspecting.
Quick, I say it's quick, it might not be quick. There's been talk in the community that it's been stated that we do not have a transportation plan. That could lead some people to maybe assume that you're winging it, or we don't have a guideline to go by, or any structure to what we're doing with roads, and could also be assumed that maybe roads are not a priority for this board. Can you highlight for us specifically what you and your team do and how you review what needs to be done and what drives that for everybody, just for the record, so the facts can get out there, please?
Yes, excuse me, absolutely. I'd love to tell you that was a really quick answer, but I could talk till tomorrow at this time, and you would probably still not completely understand perhaps what I do. So let me first answer the question: do I have a plan? Do we operate under a program and a process? Absolutely, yes, we do. What I'll tell you is, and sometimes if my staff was sitting here with me today, they would sit there and shake their head. Oh yeah, we're going by a process and we're going by a plan. Do I have a software that points to all 8 of these databases that we just touched on, a couple of them, and spits out and says, Mr. Public Works Director, here's what you need to take to the board? Do I have a software that says, here's your transportation plan? No, we don't. That decision and that process occurs as a holistic approach of me and my staff reviewing them. One thing we haven't talked about is local knowledge. We've got one of the best paving contractors that is on staff for us, that I would put him up against anybody. And a lot of what I do is I'll look at these scores, but then I'll say, hey, Ed, give me 4 miles of roads, just to see what his local knowledge and where that falls in here. Give you an example of that. I get a call, yesterday was a week ago, from Jeremy Durant's. Names are relevant other than he's the state aid coordinator with GDOT for our district. He said, Mr. Key, he said, I'm in a bind. I need a list of about 8 miles of safety improvement from you today. Send it to me on your letterhead. I got some money that we're going to give you. I know you guys have got a pretty good system up there, and I knew you could produce this very quickly. That took about 2 hours. Quite frankly, it took longer to get the letterhead together and get everything together than to identify where I can come up with that. I did the exercise of, okay, let's look at where we have edge loss, okay? All right, I identified, for example, for public information, Blue Ridge Overlook, okay? I get done, I call my staff, Eddie, edge loss or safety section, where can we do 2-foot shoulders? Blue Ridge Overlook. He came up with a very similar list, but to the answer and the takeaway of that is yes, we have a very, very detailed, and I would put our internal process and program up against any of the other 158 counties that are out there. It's somewhat of a breath of fresh air when I go to these conferences and talk to other public works director, and I almost said it, but I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. And I asked them, hey, what do you use? Because I'm all the time trying to learn. What do y'all use? Well, whatever the commissioner tells me to. It's the sole commissioner. And I sort of cringe because, okay, well, hopefully they know what they're doing. You know, I guess so. They get elected. So, and I don't take this lightly in saying this, and I preach this to my staff all day, every day. What we're doing is we're trying to take the politics out of it so that we can make analytical recommendations to this body. And we have the data behind it. You know, some of the other analysis, and we'll talk briefly about it, this next one, I won't go into as much detail, but we do a culvert analysis. We have 9 miles of pipes that go under our Dawson County roads. And when you're driving home, you don't think about that. 9 miles of pipes, many of these are in bad shape, really bad shape. Part of our programming and planning process, we talked about the T-Splost. And we've allocated, it's really easy in a 24-month window or a 36-month window to identify projects. We just talked about Hugh Stowers Road. That project scored a good bit higher 2 years ago. I go look at it now and it was scoring the 15 to 20 range. So they deteriorate so fast when they get to a point that if I was to give you a list today and say, here's what I'm going to do for the next 10 years, it would be obsolete in 18 months. It wouldn't be worth the paper it's written on. So when somebody calls in and say, where am I on the list? My next question is, let's set up a meeting for you to come in and sit down and talk to me. Let me show you how this system works, how it works, and get a better understanding of how we do that. I don't know if that answers your question, but if not, I'll attempt to do it another way.
Yeah, I guess, following up on that, you're the SPLOST coordinator. What percentage of SPLOST did we spend on infrastructure to date in the current SPLOST grant, and what do we have allocated?
67% is for SPLOST.
Yeah, at the end of
Roads, for roads.
we've got a program in place at the end that we will spend 67%. We are on track. Right now, we have not spent 67%. As everybody's aware, we front-loaded with some fire EMS stuff. We front-loaded with a little bit of the IT stuff. So those projects are done. There'll be no more funded projects from 6 or 7 unless we overplay for those projects. We're still putting allocations towards Parks and Recreation, which is about 10%. We're still putting yearly allocations to the Sheriff's Office for rolling stock, which is 11%. And then the other 67%. To answer your question to date, I think we're at about 38 or 39% of our total spending before this. This is going to put us up above 42, 43% of our collected SPLOST to date has gone to infrastructure. And we're operating under a pay-as-we-go program. So we also have money in the bank to cover these projects right here today. So there is funds in the bank that's allocated to that.
So I guess under the pay-as-you-go program too, this project is $4 million, so it takes a little bit of time to save up the $4 million because we're not bonding these things out. But that being said, in your opinion, is your feeling that roads are a priority for this board? Are we allocating funds that we have available today to best meet the infrastructure needs that we have with the funding that we have today?
Under SPLOST, with our SPLOST 6 funds?
Yeah.
Yes, I'd be foolish to sit here and tell you no. 67%, yes, absolutely. I have seen the last 2 years, my general fund line item that goes to general maintenance, that's a whole nother ball of wax that we're not really talking about. I have seen our general maintenance go up. We've been successful in getting an additional, I think it was 2 years ago, an additional mowing crew. We've seen a direct correlation of having that crew on the road from a safety standpoint in our office from complaints and everything else. So yes, my answer to you is yes. And that would be from staff to general line items to SPLOST 6. And then even the forethought to ask the citizens their thoughts on a T-SPLOST program. And should that be successful, then yes.
I assume, going down path A and path B, if T-SPLOST were to succeed, then we're able to ramp up addressing a lot of these issues that are data-driven priorities on your plan. So we'll be able to ramp that up quicker. Otherwise, we'll continue to rely on SPLOST in our next SPLOST offering that comes up, and that'll still be a priority in SPLOST, I would assume, for large capital purchases.
It'd certainly be my priority. We're at a point now where we have to have really 2 different SPLOST programs that we can go. T-SPLOST, we can't buy and purchase equipment for my department, so that equipment purchases would be our SPLOST participation, should T-SPLOST be approved. But yes, the answer is yes. If that's the case, then we would do that. And if I may just a second, if you look at the T-SPLOST, there's a number of specified projects that are listed. Those are projects, quite frankly, that need to be done today. And we know that from our analysis and the work. And I didn't say this a minute ago, every bit of this analysis is done by our staff in-house. We haven't contracted this out at all. Now, we've had a lot of sleepless nights trying to pound through it, but it's all been done in-house. So those are specific projects. There's also a bulk line there that says, hey, this is for our asset improvements that we're going to do. Each year, what I anticipate, just like we did with SPLOST, I would come to this board and say, here's what we've completed, here's what we're programming for the next phase. And then just as a presentation, and then we can go. Sorry, I know we're getting off topic.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that.
David, this company, RDJE Incorporated, where are they from? Have been on this project?
Are you on the next,
I don't say that.
I think RDJ was on the culvert. I think.
Yes, it's on the,
It's the
we
next
have, that's the next one.
The next, no,
One other question from the, so how many road miles we have in Dawson County?
Just under 300.
And y'all inspected all 300?
No.
Y'all screwed, where y'all at on
No, because we have roughly 80 miles of
you?
gravel roads. There are a number of roads. Hemlock Drive is one that come to mind that was formerly a chip seal road, and none of our systems we have in place now, we evaluate the gravel road or a chip seal road. So no, I don't want to sit here and tell this board or the general public that I've done every single road.
Hey,
We have evaluated the paved roads, yes.
I guess that's where I was at, I'm sorry.
Now, with that being said, we do use some human knowledge. If I know that a road's going to score a 0, it's to that level, I'm going to take my time and allocate my time somewhere else. And we're going to put that on a priority list. So, the answer to your question, we have evaluated the paved roads, yes.
other questions for David? Thank you, sir. We'll move on to the presentation of IFD 365-20 Culvert Renovations Project for Dawson County. David.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I don't anticipate this to be quite as long. This is important to the previous bid. I am of the opinion if we're going to do road improvements, that we need to do the road improvements holistically so that we're not going back and cutting roads up, and then y'all have to go find a new public works director and the whole 9 yards there. So what this is a bid on two different locations, 2 different roads. One is a pipe on Sweetwater Juneau Road. Well, let's just go through it. So SPLOST 6 designated 67% of that for road improvements. This project we're proposing to be is proposed to be used out of that SPLOST 6. There are 4 culvert sections. All of these are corrugated metal pipes that when they were installed, I'm sure were said this is going to be there forever. Well, we're at forever. And these are fully deteriorated, several of which are large enough that I have walked through them, and you're walking on gravel where the creek bed has just completely eaten the bottom of the pipe away. So you can see structure numbers here, and I don't want to digress for just a second. Those are structure numbers in our culvert analysis. Back in 2008 was the first time we did that. We've updated it twice since then, but structure number 313, 314, and 317 are all on Bailey Waters Road. What I will say is that what is being proposed there is on 2 of those pipes, we're extending 10 feet on both sides. They're going to line those pipes with what they're proposing is a spin cast, if you will. It's a concrete product. They go in there and put lath around the inside of it, spin it with concrete. The old pipe can completely deteriorate away. The new pipe is stronger than the corrugated metal pipe. It's an 80-year project. Again, I shouldn't be here before you ever again talking about this project. So that's those 3 pipes there. The reason why we're adding to 2 sections of it is the shoulder's not wide enough to do the road project that we just talked about. By adding to that, we've put in this contract that they are to build the shoulders up so that we have safety shoulders at each of those culvert crossings. The other one is structure number 269 at Sweetwater Juneau Road. To be fair with you, that pipe's not in horrible condition. It is, however, it is a corrugated metal pipe. It's at the top of the hill, and it was an old cattle crossing. And this is just a preemptive strike that if one day we know it's gonna rust away, and I don't want the road to have to be dug up to do that. It's different property owners on different sides of the road. I've communicated with both of them. It's not used. So this would be to pull out that structure number 269, backfill it with dirt, and obviously rock and GAB at the top. I got ahead of myself, I think. Backfill it with GAB at the top, and then the road contractor, should that bid be approved, will come over, reclaim the road, obviously, and then retake it. It was bid to policy. We did receive 2 bids. We just talked about the tasks and what those tasks were. Again, those structure IDs you see there, that's straight out of our culvert analysis. And those would have, all of these would have scored, with the exception of pipe number 269, would have scored a 4 or a 5 out of 5, 5 being the worst. So real quick, the product that they're going to use is equal to, arguably better than what we've called out right here as a wet out over the hole. If you recall on Dawson Forest, years ago, I presented to the board the same system. They actually put a sleeve through one of the pipes, they blow it up with steam, and then that hardens, and that pipe's there forever. I went down there a week and a half ago, and it looks today just like it did the day they left. These pipes that we're considering here, they're significantly larger. So to use that system, the cost is driven up, and it's more cost efficient to use I'm going to call it a spin cast product. That's just that's actually a brand name, but it's a concrete product. Again, this is a turnkey project. All our portion, ours being Dawson County, we will inspect this process, and then I'll have the project manager inspecting it as this occurs. Should they need any traffic control, or any assistance with property owners for easements or something like that. We've talked to the property owners. Most of them have said, yes, if you need a construction easement, we'll work with the contractor. Again, we talked about that. We had 2 bids we received. The RDJE, Commissioner Nix had asked about that. I believe they are in Newnan.
Yes, they're in Newnan.
Very good. They are in Newnan, Georgia. That's a utility contractor that goes after everything that has a pipe in it. So they don't specifically do just this lining or just like this. They do any kind of pipe project, water lines, sewer lines. The other one was Townley Construction, and you can see Townley Construction was the low bid there. So staff requests that the board accept the bid submitted and award the contract as Townley Construction in a not to exceed amount of $453,000, and this is to be utilized. This is to utilize SPLOST 6 funds to fund this project.
Questions for David?
And these scheduling wise are correlated together with the paving, so they're gonna overlap at the same time?
Yes. I stated at the very beginning of this, Blunt can start June 15th. The reason why I said I anticipate them starting at Hugh Stowers Road is you'll notice there's no pipes at Hugh Stowers Road. So as an order, I would anticipate they'll go from Hugh Stowers Road to Sweetwater Juneau to Bailey Waters Road. So by the end of the summer, then Bailey Waters Road would be completed. And then there would be the shoulder building in the fall and everything there. So yes, we will coordinate that.
But we're going ahead and cut and put the pipes in now.
They're gonna go
We're
in.
not waiting for them to dig up.
No. The pipes need to be in and that contractor needs to be gone before the road contractor gets there. And that will happen.
Okay.
Other questions?
Roads are very expensive. Infrastructure is expensive.
Extremely.
Thank you, David. Next up, we have county manager report. David?
Thank you, Jeremy. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Just a short report for you today. Most of our time has obviously been contributed to the COVID-19. More than 800 people have been tested for COVID-19 at the specimen collection site at Rock Creek Park since it opened on April the 26th. This drive-through site is operated by Dawson County, the National Guard, Augusta Medical, and is open daily from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This site will remain open through at least May the 21st and may be extended beyond that on the governor's orders, should that change. As you know, staff has been working staggered shifts where possible during this pandemic. We plan to return to a normal schedule on Monday, the 11th, with masks being provided to any employee who wishes to have one. We have distributed many of those masks now. Each department has been asked to provide a number so that they can be issued those masks. In addition to that, anybody entering the courthouse will be strongly encouraged to get a mask. Those masks have been provided to the security folks downstairs to be handed out to those folks. We are instructing our folks that when they're in the common areas, if they have a mask on, if they're in their individual offices or what have you, then they certainly don't need to do that. The weekly pandemic meeting reports that we try to get to you all, we have on a weekly basis, is now going to be extended to a bi-weekly every 2 weeks. Hope to get that report out to you so you can see what we're discussing in those pandemic meetings. And just on an administrative improvement note, typically in the past, job application was submitted to the county. Those were taken off a line or were filled out online and then either emailed in. And what we've done now is they electronically can be submitted without having to do any additional steps within that process. So hope to speed it up, make it more convenient for that applicant and be more proficient. So with that, that concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Do you happen to know if the elected officials are going to open up their office? I think like the tax commissioner's been closed to the public. Do you know? I know you're not supposed to, but I just wondered.
Yes, ma'am. That's a great question. We've had some discussions. I'm at this point, though, I don't know to what extent they are. I know the judicial. I've had many conversations with Judge Bearden and all, and we're kind of working in sequence together on that. So their individual departments, I've not been given any word on that.
I just curious.
We're all trying to kind of follow the same flow so that it's flows better.
I can tell you this year that the judicial portion has been extended till June 12th.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Other questions for the county manager?
Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. We'll take a few-minute break to allow staff the opportunity to prepare for our voting session. But to the public, we'll be back shortly. Thank you for your attendance.